Today I'm going to teach you how to make 4 different kinds of Butterbeer. I have the 3 Butterbeers from the park, the classic cold Butterbeer, the slushy frozen Butterbeer, the comforting warm Butterbeer, and then as a special treat, Butterbeer ice cream floats. These are all made with my butterscotch syrup, and they're all topped with a butterscotch marshmallow foam topping that's delicious. Now, if you love copycat recipes or decadent recipes and cakes, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and let's make them awesome. The first thing I'm going to do is make the homemade butterscotch syrup. Now this syrup is going to be that flavoring that we add to everything, to the sodas, to the warm milk, to the topping, that's going to give us the Butterbeer flavor. First add the butter, and then add the brown sugar. Now I get asked a lot, what's the difference between butterscotch and caramel? The difference is caramel is made with white sugar, and butterscotch is made with brown sugar. Add the corn syrup. Now we're going to bring this to a boil and boil it until it hits 240 degrees at sea level. You need to remember to adjust that number if you live above or below sea level. Now I live way above sea level, so how I determine how much I need to adjust by is I boil some water. Water boils at 212 degrees at sea level, so for me it boiled at 192, which means a 20-degree difference. So for me, I need to adjust everything down by 20 degrees, so instead of hitting 240, my goal is 220. Once it hits 220 degrees, take it off the heat immediately. Now, if you try to add the cream right away, it's actually going to make the butterscotch sauce seize, and it's going to cause a huge mess. You want to let this cool slightly, or if you're using a stainless steel pan, you can always run cold water around the bottom of the pan to help stop that cooking process immediately and bring it slightly down to temperature. Now, in a steady stream, add the whipping cream while you stir the sauce. And that's a classic butterscotch sauce. Now you can add salt and or vanilla as a flavor enhancer. We're going to add some salt now. And I'm also going to add some apple cider vinegar. Now what the vinegar is going to do is help cut the sweetness of this a little bit. If I was just using this as butterscotch sauce, I wouldn't do that. But because we're going to be adding it to so much other sweet things to create the Butterbeer, I'm going to add that vinegar to help cut it back just a little bit. The final thing we're going to add to this butterscotch sauce that's going to be a little bit unusual and more on the Butterbeer side of things is we're going to add some rum extract. Now if you add extracts to sauces while they're hot, the extract is actually going to evaporate away and you're not going to get as strong as a flavor. So I'm going to let this cool closer to room temperature, about 15 minutes before adding that. Now it's time to make that marshmallowy foam topping. We're going to start with some marshmallow cream, add some of that butterscotch syrup we just made, add some heavy whipping cream, and beat it. Now when beating the topping together, you want this to stay on the more liquid side versus the stiff side. We want it to be this nice soft foam that kind of falls into place and covers the top of our sodas, but we don't want it to be stiff peaks. Now if you overbeat it, it's okay. It's still gonna taste amazing, still gonna look good. It's just not gonna quite be as authentic, so if you can let it deflate a little bit, you'll be happier with the results. Now we have the homemade butterscotch, we have the topping, we have cream soda, we have everything that we need to put this Butterbeer together. So we're going to start by making the classic cold Butterbeer. Start by adding half a cup to a cup of the cream soda. Now we're going to add a third cup of the butterscotch syrup, and you want to stir that together. Now stir this together until the butterscotch syrup is completely incorporated into the soda and it's all liquefied. Now obviously if you did this with the full amount of the soda, you're going to get rid of all of that amazing carbonation. So that's why we start with just a little bit of the soda to liquefy that out. Now we're going to add the rest of the soda, give it just a slight stir, and we're ready to go. Bring that up to 4 cups. Now I like to take all this foam off the top since we're going to be adding our own. Now just pour that soda into cups. Add the topping and it's ready to serve. Next up is frozen Butterbeer. You start by making the soda the exact same way. Now pour it into your ice cream maker, whatever you use, and run it until it's a nice thick slush. Now this could take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes depending on your ice cream maker and how fast it freezes. Now, I have seen some versions out there that take a blender and use ice and the cream soda and the butterscotch syrup and blend it together, but to me it's just a little too watered down. It's not quite that full flavor of the frozen Butterbeer that I like getting in the parks, but that is an option. If you want to go that route, then I recommend instead of using normal ice cubes, freeze some of the cream soda and use that for your ice cubes. Once it's nice and slushy, go ahead and add it to your cup. Add your whipped topping and enjoy. This is by far my family's favorite version, the frozen Butterbeer. Now at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they started with a cold Butterbeer and a frozen Butterbeer, and then they added the warm Butterbeer. Now in the books, they only ever refer to a warm, creamy Butterbeer, and so that is the third version that we are making right now. Start by adding some brown sugar and some milk to a saucepan and heat that up. Once the sugar is dissolved, add the heavy cream and bring this to a simmer. Add half a cup of the butterscotch and take off the heat. Now we're going to add the cream soda, ladle up the warm mixture, add some of the topping, and enjoy. Now that we've tackled the 3 ways that they make Butterbeer at the park, it's time for one more way that's not official, but a lot of people do at the park anyway, and that is a Butterbeer Float. Now if you go and get some of the vanilla ice cream and get yourself a Butterbeer, you can mix the two together and it's amazing. Now it's time to give everything a try. I'm going to start with the cold Butterbeer, the classic. Now, I'm not much of a soda drinker, so this is probably my least favorite, but I still think it tastes amazing. It just wouldn't be my first choice. Now, the big question is, do you stir your foam topping and your soda together, or do you leave them separate? I leave them separate. I like enjoying a little bit of that foam topping with the soda. Same thing with the frozen slushie. I don't stir it together. I just make sure I get a little topping with a lot of my slushie. Now, I may not love sodas, but I do love this slushie. We make it as a family probably every other week. Definitely a family favorite. All right, now for the warm Butterbeer. This is thick and warm and comforting and sweet. It's really rich. It's definitely not one of the things that you would want to have like every morning, but I feel like this totally encompasses what the book explains Butterbeer to be, and it's absolutely amazing and would be perfect for any kind of party. And then finally, the float. This is not classic to the book or the parks, but it's just a fun way to enjoy Butterbeer. And I don't love soda, but I do love floats. Oh, this is so good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Leave me a comment down below letting me know other movie treats that you would like to see me recreate, and watch the next video.